My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
All right, today is February 15, 2025. It is 4:46 a.m. I just posted this on my community board. It just came to mind right after I finished my recording for PYTE. And I was thinking about these two movies, RoboCops and Judge Dredd or something like that. Go on my community board and watch it. So one of the things I want to talk about is not any specific tweet or anything like that. I was just looking for it. I didn't know it was on that screen. About what happened in the U.S. election. Some of the topics, these are some of the topics I want to tackle. So pretty much, I've been recommended a lot of videos, FAFO, people are complaining, and all of that. One of the things I started saying on PYTE's video is that once I heard about, once I saw during the election Trump was winning, I got that feeling in my stomach that just got me depressed, and I didn't even finish watch the outcome of the election on the night of. I went to bed. Then when I got up and I saw he won, I was so disappointed and very depressed about it. For the whole day I was depressed. But I think it's the next day or the day after, something came to me. I was just calm. I feel like I'll be okay. I don't know what it is, okay? Something came to me where I wasn't as upset and depressed as I was once I heard that he won. And I started thinking that, okay, I look at President Obama's 2 term of election. He only did, these are some stuff I've repeated before, I've said in past videos. He only was able to do something the first 2 years. That was the ACA. And then we saw how the Republican manipulated, make people, vote against it, hated it, when in fact it was helping them. That was one of the things. There's other things, but that was the significant one that stood out the most for the first 2 years. And then ever since, we've been downhill. We got rescued in 2020 with Biden, and then we went back again to him. And I have said after the 2020 election, and I said, who helped save democracy? At that time, was it 2016? No, 2020, when Biden won. And I said it was African American, Native American, and some Hispanics. Okay, I have a video about that. But this election, something happened where there's a core issue, core problem that's going on in our system. And I hope it's opening people's eyes to know that the system is against the working class. It doesn't matter, well, technically African American always fall into that, but all the working class. If you don't have money, you're not part of that club. When I saw that, once I start seeing the numbers for African American, wants to help everybody. The ideal of America, the ideal that sort of America, that sort of make people from outside of the country around the world will want to come to America. Not anymore, but I'm just saying before, because now it's being revealing what America is truly is. Okay, it's revealing. Maybe that's why the sense of calmness came to me after I started processing things. Because when you look at all the issues, all the key issues, if you were living in the U.S., I'm not talking about people outside who wants to come in, who saw the beautiful part that triggered them to want to come to the U.S. Okay, I'll come to that later. But the people who were living here, who saw the issues that were happening, but refused to acknowledge it and went and vote for him, knowing that there was all those legal issues that was going on in in Florida and in New York and things like that, and things that he's been already with his Trump University and all of that. But still, they went and voted for him. That was my concern. That was my concern with the people. Knowing that Trump already, pretty much, he told us what he was going to do. But when I start looking deeper into things, and I said, the problem is us. Well, not African American, because they got the assignment. And they went in the voting booth and did just that. But the people who refuse to see reality, including white women, Hispanic, and all the other groups, especially Middle Eastern people, Palestinians, okay? And I've said in one of my videos, I remember seeing, I think World Central Kitchen was distributing meal, during the war in the Middle East. This black Palestinian, I don't know what religion, but she was in the group. She was in front of the line, and they were giving the food out. She was in front of the line. It's not like she, stumped through people to get in front of the line. She was already in front of the line. Sometimes there are images that stuck in your head. You just can't really ignore it. In front of the line, the person who's giving the food, a Palestinian or, I don't know, Middle Eastern woman who was giving out the food. The black lady in front of her, she gave everyone around her, even those that came later. That black woman stood in front. She did not give her the food. The video had ended. I don't know when or if she ever had the food. And the black woman remained patiently. This stuck with me. And then to see it transfer over here in the U.S., you see there's Kamala Harris, who was overqualified for the position, and you have Trump. And then they went and vote against their best interests. There are steps to everything. The first thing was to prevent Trump being in office, and then the next will be followed. But I don't know what went on to the head. Whether it was racism, they feel like a black woman should not be in that place or whatever. But at the end of the day, the whole country is hurting. The good portion, vast majority, is hurting. Only the 1% will be benefit. Because with a stroke of a pen, he's removing everything. Removing everything. And I hope is a learning curve for America. When we hear, because I'm not on TikTok, but a lot of videos have been recommended to me, and one of them was from TikTok, brought into YouTube, recommended to me. This white woman was asking something. What was it? Like, how can African American could feel safe or something in that nature. And many people disregard her question and said 92%. They did their part, or they're resting right now. All these are good. But the way that I see this is that in the white community, they know, everything that they do is calculated. They are paying attention to the environment and see how they could manipulate people in accordance to the current environment. For a fact, they don't teach their kids about sympathy, empathy, understanding, caring, loving, this type of thing. Many of them do not teach their kids about that. So how can, white African American can feel safe? I think that was the question. I could be wrong, but it's in that vicinity. Or what can they do? Okay, like I've said, it only takes 10 years to ruin a generation, and it could take 10 years to build a generation. Okay, so for those white women who thought they were part of the club and they forgot they were part of DEI as well, because once they put black in front of it, I mean, the white men Republican, they know how to manipulate with the mind. And this is why the UK sent their worst, Bojo, Liz, I think Farage, and that other social media guy to come to the RNC. They're training, okay? They're not hiding anymore. They're training our politicians how to manipulate the mind, okay? And I've seen it work in the UK. Pretty much America, it's exactly what the UK is. And I've been saying it since the 2020 when I started looking into things and I was seeing the parallel, okay? So they send their worst to come and train the white men in this country, because when things come into the United States and they globalize it, other countries gonna look and model from it. So this is what they want. They want this negativity to be modeled and then copied to the rest of the world. But there is a window of opportunity for those who are suffering, who now feeling the pain of their vote. Don't let them play with your mind. I know this is going to be hard for many of them because they've been trained to think whiteness is whatever. But the thing that is happening here is that for white women, let's go back to this. For white women, they want you to be in the home. This is what those people want. They want you to be in the home, raise the family, raise the kids, cook and clean and all of that. I don't know whether you want to follow or whatever. But the thing is that if you have young men, you raising boys, you raising daughters, you could start with teaching them, understand, be empathetic, and understand other cultures. Go online, because now I think China's trying to tap into Google. Okay? Because they want to move forward with false information to manipulate the truth. Okay? So whether you could buy books or go on Google and learn about things, what makes America the way America was. Teach your kids what other cultures have done, especially African American, have done to help build this country. Because all the things that African American fought for, these were the things every other immigrants that come into the United States benefit from. This is why one of many have African American have said they've done enough. They've done enough. Their voice went to the voting booth and voted for the right person. But many of you, especially Hispanic, I don't know, you thought you were part of the club. They don't want you. This is the thing all of you need to understand. They only want white men in their club. White men. Okay? So they want to have it all so they could have money, power, because money helps them manipulate people. If they want to give you a few pennies for you to beg. Okay? So they're going to take all the resources out from the people. And then now when you want food, water, and I even think one of them raised the question where water should be paid for. Okay, so all the natural resources, they want to control all of that and put us in a position of need. And this is why I said the UK with their, with their food kitchen, what do they call it? Food banks, I think that's the term they use. Food banks, where everybody is using food banks. And I'm like, why there's so many food banks and all of that? Okay, the model of the UK is being replicated over here. The ball is on the people's hand, not African American. We did our part. Once we see the situation, we know how to act accordingly. So that comes with Hispanic. Okay, now that you know you're not part of the club, okay, because many of you thought you were part of the club for whatever reason, but there's some work that needs to be done in your own communities. Okay, African American have raised so many issues, fought for so many issues, died for so many issues. In our lifetime, we heard about how the Black Lives Matter came about. Okay, we saw all of that. We fought, blood, sweat, and tears, went into the freedom that so many other people outside of the world crave for. It was African American vision that so many people around the world were craving for. But you guys who benefit from it because it was so easy, because we have done, okay, the work, blood, sweat, and tears, protests, and help change the laws for these things to be in place to make it easier for people outside to come in, especially Cuban. Okay, Cuban and some other nationalities that come in, it was too easy for them. The red carpet was laid out for them because of blood, sweat, and tears of African American. Now, when you get the chance to help uphold it, the red carpet, for others to come in legally and help build on it, but the moment you saw a Black American, female American, boom, everything exploded. You're not voting for them. So now the white man shows you exactly who they truly are. You are not part of their club. What they probably gonna do in the future is that they will give you a small little hint. Oh, you will be part of the club now. And then to change your mind, and then for you to vote for them again, and then they go back to the same objective. Their mind is right on the bullseye. They know what they want. I'm talking about white men. They know what they want. They're going for it. They don't care about all the other noise. The only thing that they're paying attention to is how the vast majority are behaving or acting. What's the word what's the environment? Okay? They are paying attention so they could manipulate you based on what is going on. There's a video that I did on our part of Pew Service. This is where I highlight organization that Harry and Meghan are part of, or they help, or they have participated in. One of them is Homeboy Industry. I'll put the thumbnails of it. Homeboys Industry. I think it was that. Either that or the one where Harry and Meghan had volunteered to distribute food or something like that. I think it was Homeboy Industry. In that video, I think I said something at some point, because I do pay attention to the small little things, the environment of things. I say at one point, Homeboy Industry is going to be there for white men. Because the thing that they're doing, if we uphold the system, okay? I don't think I said that, but if we had the system that we had in place, the one that everybody obliged for, obey and, conduct regular lives and things like that, if this is what we have, a lot of white men will be needing Homeboy Industry. Okay? And that aspect, I said it. Because Homeboy Industry provide skill for, people who have been incarcerated and who come out, or they help them with different things to build up skills. There's chef. They learn how to do many things. Go watch that video. And I said at some point it's going to be for white men, because I saw the pattern of their behavior that will lead them in jail. But guess what? They know that. They don't want to go to jail for that. For things that they do. What did they do? Look, we're living in it now. They're removing all the barriers that will make them be punished for their action, and now they could go and do whatever. All right, so they are paying attention. So white women, when you're raising your kids, okay, boy or girl, teach them about empathy, understanding when something happened, when you see someone different color who's not white, who's been shot for no reason, incarcerated for no reason, being punched at for no reason. Speak up. Speak up. Let your kids know this is wrong. This is not the way we move in a civilized society. Just imagine. Learn to put yourself in somebody's shoes. If you, as a white woman, something that happened to a black kid on the street, okay? If it was yours, this is how you put yourself in somebody's shoes. If it was your kid that was treated like that in the street while minding his own business or whatever the situation might be, is being treated like that, how would you feel? This is the thing, the mindset many of you need to understand. How would you feel if this was one of your loved ones? Could be your cousin, your sister, your brother, whatever. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. The pain the mother of that person went through, knowing that this is how his or her child was treated by a cop. The pain the mother went through. This is the thing many white women don't get. They do not know how to understand somebody's pain because everything have been laid out for them. African American fought for all the rights that white women have. But the moment they said DEI, they thought it would be other. All the bad thing that's gonna happen, it will be for somebody else. It will not affect them at all. Meanwhile, DEI, okay, affect a vast majority. For a vast majority, including white women, where certain places will not hire you, but because of DEI, you could be hired. Okay, diversity, okay, different background, different religion, different skin color, equity and inclusion. Learn to understand other people's point of view when you're in a boardroom. Okay, if you're a business, when you're a business, your main thing is to make money. Okay, where do you get those money? People you're serving to. Okay, so different people will be buying your product. How you include them into the discussion? How will you respect their way of life and things like that? But they didn't know that DEI also include them. Okay, could apply hiring, decision making, things like that. In education, look what happened step by step. All right, those white men know what they want. Okay, they boost the I'm saying Chinese, just Asian people. And Asian include Japanese, Chinese, things like that. So they boost the Asian community to go against affirmative action, when in fact it was part of DEI type of things where the school could be diverse. When they thought that, certain people are not qualified to get in, so the white men boost the Chinese, I keep on saying Chinese, just Asian American, to help fight for it, and then they went to Supreme Court, remove it, and then now they're not even getting in. Many of them are not even getting in. So there's so many things African American fought for to help the vast, not just themselves, everybody else, to be inclusive of it. But when it's time for them to upkeep those progress, the moment they see a dark skin, they vote against it. Farmers, okay, who voted for Trump, little did they know many of the incentive they're getting, I think it's from USDA or something like that, USAID or something like that, right? They were getting subsidies from the government, and I think there's some part in that where they supposed to improve their farming industry and all of that, so to make it better and things like that, to invest in it, and the government was gonna give them an incentive if they do certain things. But yet they vote for Trump, and pretty much what just happened here, this is the thing here. Biden knew that the GOP was setting him up, okay, with Middle East, because Biden wanted to help Ukraine, okay? All this tie in together. I'm jumping from one topic after another. Biden knew the GOP was setting him up because when it comes to those two wars, Ukraine and Russia, and the Middle East with Palestine with Israel, is that Biden wanted to support Ukraine. Now, what the GOP did and said, if you're going to support Ukraine, you must support Israel. Meanwhile, Israel didn't need any support. They got all the upper hand. So, if those Middle Eastern people, Middle Eastern American was paying attention, they will know that they were tying Biden, the GOP were tying Biden's arm to vote for some of those things if they want to keep Ukraine protect itself. But they didn't pay attention to that. They just saw bum, bum, bum. And then the thing as well, what I saw, okay, what I saw, and then they prevent people from talking about it, is that Israel, who sent some people in black clothing to go disturb the Palestinian. They were doing their shop, people's moving around freely, doing their thing, young kids going to the square, minding their own business. Those people in black come in, disturb them, push them around, trying to instigate. They never got the pushback from the Palestinian. And then that, whatever the party that was going on and taking hostages and all of that happened. And for me, I feel like they did them to themselves in order to raise awareness of what's going on. So, you know, to put Biden, to tie Biden's arms much deeper. So the Republican in the U.S. keeps on forcing Biden to vote on things that Biden did not want to do. So what Biden did, which many of the GOP didn't expect, that Biden step out. He didn't want to run for the presidency anymore because the Republicans were tying him with the Middle East. Okay? He did sign it, but if you understand why he signed it, maybe some of you will make proper decision when it comes to voting. So instead, he allowed, you know, they did the proper steps before the certain timing for Kamala Harris to be the nomination to run. So that the Republican didn't see that coming. It shocked them because they had the script ready to sell BS to the people to vote against their best interests on Biden, the border bills. Meanwhile, you have, that's another 360 as well, where is it Venezuela? One of the South American was sending immigrants to the border to help create chaos. I'm telling you, Biden, they tie his back, and it's a group of people who's doing this to vote for what we are facing right now, to have Trump back in office. Okay, send those immigrants to the border, and there were bills that was put in place to help, you know, create order at the border. What did Trump say? Don't vote for it, because this is what he wanted to run on. Okay, and then the UK is not far from that as well. The UK, when that was happening, the UK sent ship to South America, and then what country was that? Something Ghana. Is it Ghana? No, that's in Africa. What's the country? There's Venezuela. There was another country that the UK was Commonwealth of, and they wanted some land. They create this nonsense, okay, that they're gonna invade that other country somewhere in South America. I forgot the country name. That was Guyana and Venezuela. I think Venezuela wanted to invade Guyana because of some portion of the land. They feel like it never really finalized. They were gonna get it, take it back and things like that. And then the UK sent ship down in South America, claiming that they want to somewhat help their former colony or something, their Commonwealth. I don't remember the BS that they put, but because that thing evaporated, I don't know what they tell the people now for why they had to send the ship back. But for me, what I saw was that they wanted to make sure that Venezuela was sending the migrants to the border, because they wanted to flood the border with immigrants, because this is what Trump wanted to run on, and then telling the U.S., the population, some BS, there's chaos at the border, da-da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, there was a bill that was prepared for senators to vote on, and then Trump said, kill it. They never vote for it, because this is what he wanted to run on. So he had his blueprint, his script to run on. But once Biden said it's not running, and then he will prefer KAMALA to run, and then she got the nomination and all of that. So now it become KAMALA. Now the script changed. All the things that they did before, out the window. Now the GOP script changed. What was the change? There's the black woman, and then Trump is white. Very easy. Did Trump talk about any policies that will help improve American lives? Now, his perfect thing was immigrants again. And he told us some of the Project 25. And then the Madison Square Garden thing. Okay, to embed it in those people's brain, American, the uneducated one, the ones that he loved, to say, there's a black woman who's gonna run this country. We do not want that African American to be there. Okay, this white man, Trump, da-da-da. It was chaotic. Disrespect every race that is. Every race that is living in the U.S. So the script changed. This was the undertone of America. Okay? And then he got them. He got them. They voted against their best interests, despite the fact that they know they have immigrant families in their house or their neighbors or whatever. They vote for him anyway, thinking that it's just other. Meanwhile, DEI have also included a whole bunch of other people. Gays, lesbian, African American is always in that group. Hispanic, women, white women, all of this, different religion. It includes a whole bunch, including veterans, people in the military, depending on whatever. It includes all of us, with the exception of those who's in power, white men. That's it. So now we are at a point where, what are we learning from that? African American always know the assignment. Okay? We know the assignment. We know what is being played out. And I've learned so much more, sharing some stuff about Harry and Meghan, because I look into the UK system. Some of the things, I don't look at it that much, but I've seen enough. Okay? I've seen enough. The same thing is replicating over here. What Biden have done is lay out, pretty much did the balance, all the, what's the plan called, where those farmers get incentive, and for USDA have food sending to different countries, and have what's the other thing, food stamp for kids who's hungry and all of that. So Biden administration has balanced that. So now this is an opportunity. Now that Trump is in office, all they see is dollar sign, dollar sign. This is not going to go to the people. It's coming to us. And then this is all the executive orders that were already in place. All he needs is his signature to take it away from you. Now, are we going to learn anything from there? Hispanic, are you going to learn anything from that? Knowing that you wanted to associate with whiteness, but they still don't want you in their circle. This is something you guys need to discuss in your house, in your home, with your neighbor, community. And I've some of those videos that YouTube is recommending me, I read some of the comments. Some people are saying certain part in Florida, okay, with a large population of Cubans, they're saying how racist those Cubans are. Are these Cuban Americans gonna learn anything? Have you learned anything from that? What Trump is doing? This is why I'm a little bit calm now. I'm starting to see why my calmness after knowing he won. I was upset, disappointed, very depressed. And then after I, do the calculation in my head, I was calm. I was calm. Because if we're living among those people who refuse to accept other groups, especially the African American, who's for everybody, because they have experienced the worst of humanity. Because when they fight for something, they want to make sure many of you, including white women, do not go through it. When you see a black kid is being murdered in the middle of the street, there's a black mother who is grieving. They don't want that for you. When you see someone is, going through some special, another one as well. I think I've mentioned it in one of my videos before. I think it was somewhere in Texas. This gay kid was bound at somewhere, and then they beat him. Oh my God, I remember Matthew Shepard. Okay, I can't believe I remember his name. Matthew Shepard. Let me look his name up so I could read the exact thing that happened to him. Wow, I actually thought it was in Texas, but it was in Wyoming. Okay, so there's this kid named Matthew Shepard. Occasionally I bring him up on some of my discussion. Okay, so I type on Google, what happened to Matthew Shepard? Okay, today is the anniversary of a story that shocked our nation 22 years ago. I don't know when was this. Okay, so this was written in 2020. Okay, so right now we are 2025. All right, so 27 years ago. Okay, today is the anniversary of a story that shocked our nation 22 years ago when two men targeted and murdered a young gay man named Matthew Shepard. On October 12th, in 1998, Matthew Shepard succumbed to the injuries he withstood in a brutal beating and being abandoned on a roadside in rural Wyoming. Okay, a white young man. Okay, so these people, okay, they don't care as long it's not them, whatever, blue eyes, blonde hair. Okay, so when it happened to one, it could happen to anybody. You do not know. I can't believe I still remember his name, and I remember when that happened. And not too long ago, I think the parents, are they still alive? I saw something not too long ago about his parents. So we need to learn to have empathy, be acceptance to other groups. Who cares if he is gay? Is he doing his thing in front of you? What happened in somebody's bedroom is none of our business. This is the thing. The Republicans have shifted the mind of people to say being gay is bad, and then flunk it on our face, talking about it all the time, and then to instill in some people who will carry certain act of violence because the person is not like them. Okay, so these are the things every other group needs to understand. African American understand this assignment, and that was one of the things President Obama learned. I think I don't know what was his position about gays or something, but I know there was something about him where it changed his mind. I type, did President Obama change his mind about gays? But the only thing that I see here is that the Obama administration continues to engage systematically with government around the world to advance the rights of LGBT person. Okay, so there were some things about him, but you could go and look it up and educate yourself more about it. But I know there was something about it that someone helped him understand. Okay, so we need to have empathy for other people. What this white man wants to do, they want, well, Trump did say he wants to be king or something in that nature. All right, they want to have control of everything, the same way that's happening in the UK. All right, money is pouring into the royal family, doing absolutely nothing. But here in the US, they want to take everything for their buddies, okay, to control things. I remember when I was in school, at that time I didn't have, in college, you know, I was paying my way. And before, I just go straight to the bursar and pay either cash or whatever, that the way that I want to pay for my tuition. And then in the middle of that process, throughout my college year, they changed it where, oh, you cannot go to the bursar directly and pay. Now there's a middleman. I'm like, what the hell? And there's a fee for it. And I'm like, I have the money, I could pay you. But no, you have to, that was, I forgot the name of that system. Okay? So I learned to pay those things really quickly, because if you don't pay it on time, it's almost like healthcare. Instead of paying the let's say the hospital directly, now there's a healthcare, a middleman that will dictate if you will get certain procedure done and all of that. So it was almost the same thing when I was in college. And I was very, was PayPal in that? No, it's something like PayPal, but it's not PayPal. And I was like, you know, this is the scam that they put. They want to put middlemen of everything so their buddies could get a percentage of it. So what happened to one should be an example to all, because if it happened to one, it will happen to others. Learn, for white women, learn to be sympathetic, understanding. You know, when something happened to a black person or any other group that's not white, process it. What if it is you? Okay? Yes, there are, you know, violence among, you know, demographics with each other, but still, especially when white men is causing unnecessary harm to other group, learn to understand it. Your parents came here at some point. Your great-grandparents came here at some point. Why is it not okay for others to come in and to remove, you know, things that they work so hard for? And then meanwhile, the person who's literally standing in front, signing with a stroke of a pen, removing rights from people, immigrants and all of that, who is next to him as his wife? Okay? So learn to process. He's just playing people. All right? So farmers need to realize some of the funds that were coming to them for the farming industry, the thing that the Republican make them hate, socialism. Meanwhile, the farmers were the one who were benefiting the most. Let me look how the farmers benefit from USAID. Okay, so there's a quick answer here. I type Google, how U.S. farmers benefited from USAID program. U.S. farmers receive benefits estimate at $3.4 to $15.6 billion between 1960 and 1993 from new varieties of wheat and rice developed at the International Agricultural Research Center of CGIAR, formerly the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research, which is supported by USAID. So the government was buying and paying and helping U.S. farmers, especially small farmers, okay, to get some money through that. But there's Trump, make them vote against their best interests. Okay, what is USAID and how does it tie into agriculture? I'm going to click on it and then I'll share the link with you in the description. All right, so there's a lot. Many of them, this is why they don't want people to read certain books. They don't want to teach the history of things. And they make those people pretty much hate themselves. All right, the political standoff over staff and program at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, blew up into an international story over the weekend as Elon Musk attacked the agency along with President Trump. USAID is responsible for about $2 billion in U.S. commodity purchases annually for humanitarian food aid. Few people had like ever heard of the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, before this past weekend when staff for Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency team moved into the agency, accessed secure computer system, and essentially shut down the agency, which employs about 10,000 people globally. Okay? USAID, however, goes back to the early 1960s under President John F. Kennedy and has become over decades the lead arm for U.S. humanitarian food aid. All right, this is why he wants to change whatever the Kennedy Center or something like that. Sheesh. I've always said it takes years to build. I usually use building a house as an example, but it takes years to build a house, a building, and it takes a second to destroy it. And how I use that example? World Trade Center. All right, it took, you could look it up. How long did it take to build it and how quickly it went down. All right, and including buying on average about $2 billion a year in small grain and pulse crops as part of its mission. USAID has a $40 billion budget overall. The agency saw its international food aid budget soar during the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Foreign humanitarian assistance jumped from $10.7 billion in 2020 to $15 billion by late 2022. Okay, there's more you could read about it. Okay, so where did the USAID get those food from? From farmers. Okay, so this is another question I asked Google. Where did USAID program get their food from? Much of the food distributed by USAID comes from small farmers across the U.S. It's pulled in grain elevators, then sold to the federal government for food aid. Now, those farmers who voted for Trump just shoot themselves on the foot. Okay? Now, what's gonna happen here? Okay, many of those small farmers gonna go out of business. They deport many migrants who will help them. Now, many foods and crops are wasting away on the land because there's nobody to pick them. And then they're gonna go out of business. And what's gonna happen? Those big companies gonna come and buy it. And then that's how they're gonna control the farming industry in the U.S. Those 1%ers. This is the stupidity that just happened this past election. Now, many times I've told you guys, I live in an apartment and I study architecture. When I see buildings, properties being built around my neighborhood, I see a lot of Spanish people. Could be Mexican or any other group, but I think majority of them are Mexican. Okay? Helping put those buildings up. But for family homes, small 2 or 3 story homes, these are properties I will never buy for myself to live in because I see how the construction is built. Okay? There's so many improvement, more advanced technologies that can be used, but many of these developers, all they care about is the number. How much money they're gonna spend, the little as possible, and then sell those properties for the biggest amount of money as possible. But the construction of it, when I look and how they're building from ground up, these are things I will not buy. One fire could easily spread to the other. Because many of them, they have buddies who work in certain places who will turn a blind eye. Similar to what I've said with the fire that went on the Greenfield fire. Go watch that video. I did a video when I first came across about the Greenfield fire a couple years ago. And I talk about it. And I put my perspective on it. And then there was another time last year. Again, I think I spoke about it. Okay? So when I see these properties going up and they're selling for millions of dollars around my neighborhood, I feel sorry for the people who's buying it. And then one day when my kids were much younger, at the park, and there's a nanny I got very friendly with so my kids could play with the other kids. And she was telling me some problem that was going in some of those buildings and those properties that I saw with my own 2 eyes that were being built up. And then the person she works for, lives in one of those properties. And she said, oh, we're going to move out because there's certain things that's happening. And then at one point, I remember talking about materials that's coming from China. And I believe that segment that I saw was talking about the family who bought a property somewhere in Florida. And the people were getting sick due to the material, the sheetrock, the drywall that they use. And here in the U.S., well, not anymore, with Trump being in office, that will monitor and see if those materials that's coming from other countries coming here are up to the standard. We're probably not going to have that. Okay? So those people, how do they call them? Developers, real estate developers who wants to build houses really quickly for cheap, getting those materials from China, come over here, and there's materials and those materials and those products that use illegal things that's not up to standard with America. Now this is out the window. We're not gonna know because Trump is turning a blind eye, and then people's gonna get sick, asthma, all sort of things. So we knew, many of us knew, it wasn't just about immigrant. It wasn't just about other small things that Trump was raising, about egg prices. It was much bigger than that. It's gonna affect Europe as well, because what Putin wants to do, he wants to go back to the Soviet Union era. In order to do that, he needs those lands, those other countries that were part of Russia, to be back under his control. So he's gonna ravage through all these other countries if there are no resistance, and get them back. And then now with the backing of the US due to African American votes who help put well-minded people in position of power, no longer there. Immigrants of all sorts vote against their best interests, and now the guardrail is off. The guardrail is no longer there. Europe, the kind of peaceful kind of things that they had, no longer there. Now Trump is just gonna turn a blind eye, whatever it is they got on him, and whatever it is that, I think I have an idea, and Elon Musk, I think I have an idea as well, and all the other politicians and all the other business people who's falling in line, and they got something on them. Those black books that I've been saying with Maxwell, there's a reason for that. Alright? So this is where my calmness come into play now. People need to learn. In order for them to understand, which something I've said back in the days before we were at that position with Trump here, in order for them to understand, they have to go through it. What African American was trying to do is for them not to go through it. Instead, they said, nope, we want to go through it. We want to be part of the club. And then the white man said, nope, you're not part of our club. You do not belong in this circle. Okay, so I hope there's a lot to be learned. So much that needs to be learned. White women need to evaluate themselves. Okay, this is an internal thing for them. Because I keep on putting this, was it too raw? Dear white women, what the F this? What the F that? I'm probably not going to put it because he said a lot of F-bomb in it. Okay? Because white women always vote against their best interests. The moment they see black, automatically, oh, we don't want to elevate her. It's not for us. Meanwhile, it was about you. It was always about you. They want control of you. I don't know. I don't know what to say. There were much more that I wanted to say. Let me check my list to see if I hit the key points here. Okay, so there's the link of the article that I read partial of. White women asking for how black women feel safe. I think that was the question. Okay, just when you see, right now, I think, I'm not speaking for all. Okay, I'm speaking for myself. In order for me to sort of have to say, okay, maybe white women get it. Maybe now they understand. Is if they learn to speak up. Okay, when they see a wrong, they speak up. It doesn't matter which wrong it is. They see a wrong, they speak up. Learn to understand what other people are going through. And then the other thing is teach your boys, your husband. If you have a white husband who's going to work, who's in the policeman or something, remind him, you have children too. Don't do that. Don't treat other people, certain way. You will not want someone else to treat your kids. You have the power to influence them, their mind. Okay, teach your boys to understand, respect other women, respect other nationality, respect other cultures, respect other religion, you name it. Respect is always the foundation of things. Don't impose your will without knowing how the other person is. One of the things I've said in the past is that I always, from the beginning, I first meet somebody, I always show the humanity, the respect and understanding of somebody. Okay, I greet, be very respectful, whatever. Okay, now if the way that I introduce myself then reciprocate back to me, they didn't show me any respect, then everything is out the window. I will treat you the same way you treated me. All right, the respect always comes first. And if something you don't understand, don't, ask question. And I don't know. I understand why many African American don't want to respond back to those white women, and they said, okay, 92%, I did my part where I wanted to save everybody. But one thing I realize is that they're not teaching them. There's a reason they're removing books. There's a video that I came across where this white woman, I think is from Pennsylvania or something, was saying she never knew about some of the things that now that is coming to the surface about African American. She never knew about it because in her community they never exposed her to it. So sometimes when they ask those questions, they truly don't know. They truly don't know. Maybe this is where the part you could take a few seconds of your time to explain something. Okay, I don't know. Like Harry have said, where he said that Archie have raised question about landmines. Okay, and then through that he took the opportunity to talk about his mom, where he never thought that this question will have arise. So when somebody asks question, that's because they don't know. And we know for a fact they're suppressing information. That's the only thing I will have to say about the black community. Because I've seen it where they don't know. People do not know. So take the few seconds and explain. Because in their side of the world, the white community, they're really suppressing information. The only thing that they're teaching them is to hate. Hate anybody who's not like you. But now that things is blowing on their faces, now they're like, what's going on? I never knew. So this is the time, I think some of us, if you have the time, I'm not forcing anybody. You did your part. 92% did your part. 80 or 77, some part I see 77, some part I see 80, 88. But the black men who did their part in the last election, okay, I'm not asking you to do anything, but if you have the time, take the moment to let them know. Or just put a link of something that explains something to them. Because their group, the ones who are in power, the white men who are in power, who have control of what we see, what we don't see, they withheld those information from them. They want to maintain that patriarchy, that system that they benefit so much from the rest, from their youngs, from their women, to not know about it. So now that things is blowing on their faces, they realize, oh, I'm being fired. I cannot get this kind of assistant. I cannot this. So they're asking questions. It just blow in their faces because of lies. So we need to take the time. At least for me, if I know, I'm not on TikTok. If I know, I will answer them the best way that I know how. Like some of the things that I said in this video. I know a lot of you are not gonna agree with me. Okay? And many of these white women could easily just Google. Go in the library. Go search some books. Read some books. Okay? For the farmers. who voted against their best interests. I spoke about the USAID. The thing is that you thought it was gonna hurt others. This is the thing, the empathetic, the sympathy. They don't get it, because many of these people thrive on seeing others in pain. They thought some of these things that Trump was saying, because Trump is white like them, he's not gonna do the things that he said he's gonna do to them. But Trump only knows money. Okay? Wherever he could get the money, he's gonna take it. So we need to live in a world where we understand other people's pain. Don't live on inflicting unnecessary pain onto others. This is the problem we just faced, because we thought someone else, some other group was gonna be hurting. So it's okay for them to hurt. I'm gonna be fine. But now it's at your doorstep. You're realizing, oh, I voted against my best interest. When I hear some TikTokers who saying, oh, you thought, again, those other farmers, different tweets that I'm making reference to, that people are afraid to come to work and all of that. Didn't you think about that when you were voting? You're voting for him, for Trump, thinking that he's going to secure the bag for you only. But you forgot the ripple effect of other things. We all are connected. We all are connected. When the link, one part of the chain is removed, the circle of humanity is broken. Now things are not balanced. Okay? So I spoke about the industrialized of farming. Okay? I spoke about it where small business, mom and pops, farmers, they're going to go out of business. And then you're going to have those big, companies, those millionaires, going to scoop it up. And then they're going to do whatever it is that they want with those farms, put anything in the fooding and the food and the crop for it to grow really quickly, and then contaminate people. They don't know how it runs the same way that you do. The mom and pops is similar to mom and pops, small shops and things like that. Those small farmers, they're going to go out of business. This is what your vote did. All right, everyone find out. Latino understand what you got here. Okay, clean your house. Okay, what I mean by clean your house. There's racism within the community, within the Hispanic community. Perfect example. Okay, perfect example. Haiti and Dominican Republic. That's it. Go learn about that. Okay, her homeboy industry, white men would have needed. I spoke about it because the way that I saw things was going on. If we had a system of democracy, respect, law, and order, okay, white men would be needing homeboy industry. But now that they're destroying everything, the system no longer work there where they could run freely. Look at Trump, January 6th, let them loose. Okay, so there's no check and balance. So these people gonna run freely, cause unnecessary pain to other groups, and this is where white women come in. Teach your men and boys, don't go inflict unnecessary pain to other groups. All right. What else? UK system is in place. Pretty much whatever is happening in the UK is the same thing in the US now with Trump presidency. At some point, we're going to see a lot of food. Maybe not. There may not even be food banks where the government, I don't know, will create food banks. I don't know. Because it seems like they just want people to die. All right. They are studying us. I spoke about it. The environment. How people are maneuver. What is the environment of the vast? Where are they leaning towards? So they could infiltrate and then create a narrative so you could vote against your best interest again. They know how to play that game. All right. News outlet responsible if they participate. Okay. The other thing is, this I didn't touch. With news outlet, I spoke about it in other videos, but in this one, not so much. Where the UK sent Will Lewis, where Murdoch is, infested the airwaves with negativity, and then capture the rural area to fixate it in it and to vote against their best interests. So news outlets who are participating in the Trump type of things and not telling people the truth, you will be responsible for how America move forward. Okay? We learn about, Mika and the Morning Joe automatically bend the knees, even before Trump get in office, bend the knees to spew his narrative. And this is someone I have spoke many times on my channel. How he was one of those who spoke against Trump, but there he is, the first one to go and bend the knee before Trump even came in office. He knew Trump won, but haven't taken office from January 20th. He already bent the knee. Okay, so news outlet who's spewing negativity to the vast to vote against their best interest, just remember, if you have kids, right now, you're probably in position where you have money, you're comfortable, but at some point, it's gonna trickle down to your great-grandkids in terms of how it may affect them. Because there are people sometimes who just don't care. Similar to Trump. You could have Trump who doesn't care about anything. He care about money. The same way you could have another one from the opposite who don't care about anything because they have nothing else to lose. Okay? Because the government is taking everything away from them, so they have nothing to lose. It's similar to what happened in Egypt when Obama, I think it was around when Obama became elected, where I think he was a food vendor, and then they came and take his thing, and then he's so fed up with the system, he can never really, be in a stable ground, and he light himself on fire. And then that led to the vast, protests and things like that. Let me make sure I'm connecting the thing. I'm just talking on top of my head. Let me search that. Okay. So there's this. People ask why the Egyptians revolt. The Egyptian protesters' grievances focus on legal and political issues, including police brutality, state of emergency laws, lack of political freedom, civil liberty, freedom of speech, corruption, high unemployment, food price inflation, and low wages. All of this could be exactly over here in the U.S. now. There was something that happened. Let me see. On 20 April, 100, possibly 1,000 of protesters reassembled in Cairo Tahrir Square, demanding that the country's military rulers transfer power to civilian government sooner. They also wanted the field marshal and leader of Egypt's military, Mohammed Hussein Tentawi, to step down. Okay, so there was much more. Let me look into the man who set himself on fire. Okay, so there's this here. I wrote why Egyptian set himself on fire. Maybe I should be more specific. Okay, so I added why Egyptians men, the man, A-M. Okay, so that's his name, Mohammed Bouazizi. Okay, on this day 10 years ago, a Tunisian fruit and vegetable vendor set himself on fire in the town of Sidi Bouzid and triggered the Arab Spring. Okay, so why did Mohammed set himself on fire? Okay, so this is that. His self-immolation was in response to the confiscation of his wares and the harassment and humiliation inflicted on him by a municipal official and their aides. All right, so all of that. I forgot the core point for this. Is just that when people are fed up, they have nothing to lose, they could do a lot of things. I don't want to say anything to not give people any ideas, but that was one of the example. They had nothing to lose. They can't live their life. They keep on bothering them, confiscate his stuff. He just set himself on fire and end with all of that. Some people could have done the other way. There could be another, the loop type of things, but that's the thing. When people have nothing to lose, they don't care as much as well. All right, so there was so many things that was happening build up to the Arab Spring, and then all of this, and then also you have President Obama, who was president, so much into all of that. Okay, so the last thing here, is I hope Europe understand who was the backbone of American democracy, and also all the other people, not just Europe. Okay, immigrants from different countries, because African American fought for all those rights that we had. I don't know if they're still there, because Trump keeps on signing stuff out of the way. I don't even follow it anymore because it's so depressing. Okay, so what America had become the beacon of hope that all the rest of the world was looking and for prosperity, for all of that, all these were the work of African American. This is the world that many people envied. This is the world that so many people was coming in the country for. And this is the world that, many of these people who voted against their best interests wanted, but yet once they come here, there is something that within these people's eyes, whenever they see African American or anyone dark skinned, there's some rejection. And now you just see you vote against your best interests. All right, so the white men, M-A-N or M-E-N, they don't want you guys in their circle. They only know about themselves. All right, so I don't know if I make sense. I went on, I probably mumbled too much. So that is it. I did a video earlier. It's on PYTE. Go check it out. I focus a little bit about Harry and Meghan and things like that. All right, so that's it. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
We ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.